The pursuit of fulfillment is a fundamental aspect of human existence, and within this pursuit, the cultivation of healthy interpersonal relationships stands as a critical determinant of overall well-being. This report examines the foundational elements of healthy relationships, their profound psychological benefits, and actionable strategies for their development and maintenance. Furthermore, it addresses the complexities of navigating different relationship types, identifying and addressing detrimental patterns, and the crucial role of self-compassion in fostering both internal and external relational health. A healthy relationship is characterized by several key components that contribute to a balanced and supportive dynamic between individuals. Foundational to such relationships are open communication, mutual trust, consistent emotional support, and a deep sense of respect. Beyond these core elements, healthy relationships necessitate honesty in interactions, a willingness from all parties to engage in compromise, and a sustained effort to nurture the connection. A critical aspect is the absence of a power imbalance, ensuring that each individual's autonomy and independence are valued and upheld. This environment of equality and respect extends to the acknowledgement and honoring of personal boundaries, which are essential for maintaining individual well-being within the relationship. These principles are not confined to a single type of interpersonal connection, but rather serve as universal guidelines applicable across the spectrum of human relationships, whether they be romantic partnerships, familial bonds, or friendships. Trust forms the bedrock upon which healthy relationships are built. It is not an inherent attribute, but rather something that is earned over time through consistent behavior. Reliability, which involves being dependable and following through on commitments, is crucial in establishing trust. Similarly, respecting the personal boundaries of others demonstrates an understanding and valuing of their individual needs and limits, further solidifying trust. Honesty, both in expressing one's own thoughts and feelings and in one's actions, is indispensable for creating transparency and fostering a secure connection. Ultimately, trust is reinforced when an individual's words consistently align with their actions, creating a sense of predictability and dependability within the relationship. The establishment of trust provides a crucial sense of safety and security, which in turn is vital for facilitating vulnerability and open communication between individuals. When trust is absent or broken, individuals tend to become guarded and emotionally distant, which can significantly impede intimacy and the ability to cooperate effectively within the relationship. Mutual respect is another cornerstone of healthy relationships, involving the acknowledgement and valuing of each individual's boundaries, opinions, and unique identity. In a respectful relationship, each person feels valued for who they are, and their perspectives are given due consideration, even in instances of disagreement. This fosters a safe environment where individuals can express themselves authentically without fear of judgment or belittlement. Respect is not merely conveyed through significant actions, but is also evident in everyday interactions, such as through active listening when the other person is speaking and acknowledging their viewpoints, even if they differ from one's own. By valuing each other's individuality and autonomy, respect prevents feelings of being controlled or demeaned, allowing individuals to maintain a strong sense of self within the context of the relationship. Empathy, the capacity to understand and share the feelings of another, plays a vital role in fostering strong emotional bonds within relationships. It involves not only recognizing the emotions of the other person, but also attempting to understand their experiences from their perspective. Empathy requires active engagement in listening and a genuine effort to put oneself in the other person's situation, even when their viewpoint may not align with one's own. This ability to share and understand each other's emotional landscape leads to individuals feeling heard and genuinely supported by their partners. Empathy strengthens the emotional connection between people and serves as a crucial tool for navigating conflicts with understanding and compassion, rather than resorting to judgment or defensiveness. Open communication is the lifeblood of healthy relationships, characterized by the honest and empathetic sharing of thoughts and feelings. This involves both the ability to express oneself clearly and authentically, particularly when addressing conflicts or concerns, and the capacity to listen actively to the other person's perspective. Open communication establishes a safe space where individuals feel comfortable in articulating their needs, desires, and vulnerabilities without fear of reprisal or invalidation. Effective communication goes beyond mere verbal exchange. It encompasses a willingness to engage in dialogue, to understand each other's experiences, and to work collaboratively towards resolving misunderstandings. This consistent practice of open dialogue ensures that emotions are not suppressed or left unaddressed, which can lead to resentment and distance within the relationship. Strong social connections yield a multitude of psychological benefits that contribute significantly to an individual's overall well-being. Research consistently indicates that individuals with robust social networks experience lower rates of anxiety and depression and exhibit higher levels of self-esteem. These positive outcomes are often attributed to the emotional support and sense of belonging that these connections provide. Furthermore, strong relationships foster greater empathy among individuals, leading to more trusting and cooperative interactions. Beyond mental health, these connections have been linked to tangible physical health benefits, including a strengthened immune system, faster recovery from illness, and even a potential increase in longevity. The feeling of being connected to others cultivates a sense of belonging, love, care, and value, which are fundamental to human thriving. Moreover, supportive social connections have been shown to improve an individual's ability to manage stress, anxiety, and depression, while also contributing to better sleep quality. Individuals who enjoy strong social ties often report boosted happiness and lower stress levels, along with improved self-confidence, a greater sense of self-worth, and an enhanced feeling of purpose in life. Notably, research suggests that socializing can even slow cognitive decline and has a protective effect on both the body and the brain, potentially preserving memory function for a longer duration. Conversely, loneliness and social isolation can have profoundly negative impacts on an individual's overall well-being. Studies have linked a lack of social connection to an increased risk of developing serious health conditions such as heart disease, stroke, type diabetes, dementia, depression, anxiety, suicidality, self-harm, and ultimately earlier death. Social isolation can manifest in various physical symptoms, including headaches, a general feeling of illness, unexplained pains, persistent tiredness, and difficulties with sleep. Furthermore, it can contribute to the development or exacerbation of mental health conditions, such as depression, anxiety, panic attacks, and feelings of paranoia. Individuals experiencing loneliness and isolation may also suffer from low energy and motivation, encounter diet-related problems, and grapple with negative emotions like worthlessness and hopelessness. In some cases, social disconnection can lead to maladaptive coping mechanisms, such as substance abuse. Research indicates that loneliness and social isolation have a detrimental impact on the cardiovascular, immune, and neuroendocrine systems. Specifically, social isolation has been associated with increased levels of cortisol, a stress hormone, and may even contribute to an increase in body mass index. The severity of the impact is underscored by findings suggesting that the mortality risk associated with social disconnection is comparable to that of smoking up to 15 cigarettes daily. The cultivation of healthy relationships necessitates the development of effective communication skills. One fundamental strategy is the practice of active listening. This involves a conscious effort to not only hear the words being spoken, but also to fully understand the speaker's message, encompassing both the content and the underlying emotions. Active listening requires paying complete attention to the speaker, minimizing distractions, and demonstrating engagement through nonverbal cues such as maintaining eye contact and nodding. A key aspect of active listening is refraining from interrupting the speaker and instead allowing them to fully express their thoughts without being cut off. To ensure accurate understanding, it is beneficial to reflect back what has been said, paraphrasing the message to confirm comprehension and show the speaker that their words have been heard and processed. This practice not only clarifies the message but also makes the speaker feel valued and understood, fostering a stronger connection and building trust within the relationship. Another crucial communication skill is the ability to express one's needs assertively. Assertive communication involves stating one's thoughts, feelings, and needs clearly and directly, while simultaneously respecting the rights and perspectives of the other person. A key technique in assertive communication is the use of I statements, which allow individuals to express their emotions and needs from their own perspective without placing blame or resorting to accusatory language. For example, instead of saying, "You always make me feel ignored," an assertive statement would be, "I feel unheard when I am interrupted." This approach helps to convey one's feelings in a way that is more likely to be received constructively, fostering a more balanced and respectful dynamic within the relationship. Assertive communication is about advocating for oneself and making one's needs known in a way that promotes mutual understanding and respect. Inevitably, relationships will encounter conflicts, and the ability to resolve these disagreements constructively is vital for maintaining their health and longevity. Constructive conflict resolution begins with managing one's own emotions and reactivity, often requiring a conscious effort to calm down before engaging in discussion. Speaking non-defensively is crucial, focusing on understanding the other person's perspective rather than immediately trying to justify one's own actions. 31. Validating the partner's feelings, even if one does not agree with their viewpoint, helps them feel heard and understood. The focus should remain on addressing the specific issue at hand, rather than attacking the other person's character or bringing up past grievances. Identifying common ground and areas of agreement can provide a foundation for finding mutually acceptable solutions. Utilizing "I feel" statements allows individuals to express their emotions without placing blame. Active listening during conflict, which involves genuinely trying to understand the other person's point of view, is essential. Finally, a willingness from both parties to compromise and find solutions that meet everyone's needs is paramount for resolving conflicts in a way that strengthens the relationship rather than causing further division. Establishing and maintaining healthy boundaries is paramount for fostering respect, autonomy, and overall well-being in any relationship. Boundaries are personal limits that define what an individual is comfortable with, encompassing physical, emotional, mental, and even digital aspects of interaction. These limits are essential for creating safe spaces within relationships where individuals feel secure, respected, and free to be themselves. Healthy boundaries help to prevent feelings of being overwhelmed, resentful, or taken advantage of, ultimately strengthening the bond between individuals. Setting clear boundaries is an act of self-care and self-respect, signaling to others how one wishes to be treated and prioritizing one's own needs and emotional health. The most effective approach to establishing healthy boundaries is through honest and open communication. 6. Clearly articulating one's needs, limits, and expectations allows others to understand and respect those boundaries. Starting conversations with phrases like, "It's important to me when," or "I need you to know I feel strongly about," can facilitate the communication of boundaries in a way that is direct yet not accusatory. It is advisable to be clear and straightforward when expressing boundaries, using "I" statements to convey personal limits and avoiding the tendency to apologize excessively or provide lengthy justifications. Consistency is key to maintaining boundaries. Once established, they should be upheld consistently to reinforce their importance. It is also important to recognize that boundaries are not static and may evolve over time as individuals and relationships change. Different types of boundaries exist, including physical boundaries related to personal space and touch, emotional boundaries concerning the sharing of feelings and taking responsibility for one's own emotions, sexual boundaries defining comfort levels with intimacy, digital boundaries regarding online interactions and privacy, material boundaries concerning possessions and finances, and spiritual boundaries related to personal beliefs and practices. Setting healthy boundaries is not about creating distance in relationships, but rather about defining the space where respectful and healthy connection can thrive. These limits are fundamental for ensuring mutual respect and preventing the potential for exploitation or overreach. Without clear boundaries, individuals may experience feelings of being overwhelmed by the demands of others, leading to resentment and ultimately undermining the relationship. Establishing boundaries communicates an individual's needs and limits, providing a roadmap for others on how to interact respectfully and fostering a sense of safety and trust within the connection. The ability to set boundaries can be hindered by factors such as low self-esteem, fear of rejection, or a strong desire to please others. Individuals with low self-esteem may struggle to believe that their needs are valid or that they have the right to assert limits. The fear of disappointing others or facing negative reactions can make it difficult to say no or to express discomfort. Overcoming these obstacles involves developing self-awareness, recognizing one's inherent worth, and understanding that setting boundaries is not selfish, but a necessary component of self-care and healthy relationships. Vulnerability and authenticity play pivotal roles in fostering deeper and more meaningful connections with others. Vulnerability, often misunderstood as weakness, is actually an act of courage that involves opening oneself up to share innermost thoughts, feelings, insecurities, and imperfections. This willingness to be seen in one's true light without the protection of a facade builds trust and strengthens the emotional bonds between individuals. Authenticity, on the other hand, is about being true to oneself, embodying honesty and transparency in interactions. It involves aligning one's words and actions with one's genuine beliefs and values, fostering a sense of trust and allowing for a more profound and genuine connection with others. Embracing vulnerability requires a shift in perspective, recognizing that it is not a sign of weakness, but rather a demonstration of strength and courage. It involves taking the risk to reveal one's emotions and weaknesses, allowing oneself to be truly seen by another. The benefits of vulnerability are manifold, including the cultivation of deeper connections, the fostering of authenticity, the facilitation of conflict resolution, and the promotion of emotional growth within relationships. Trust, a cornerstone of any healthy relationship, is often built upon a foundation of vulnerability. When individuals allow themselves to be vulnerable with one another, they create an intimate space where they can support and uplift each other, fostering a sense of safety and security within the relationship. Shared vulnerability deepens the emotional connection between partners, fostering intimacy and strengthening the bond between them. Often, societal pressures can lead individuals to feel compelled to present a flawless exterior, making the act of being vulnerable seem daunting. However, it is through embracing one's imperfections and allowing oneself to be seen authentically that genuine connection and acceptance can truly blossom. The fear of judgment or rejection can be a significant barrier to vulnerability. Overcoming this fear involves recognizing that every individual has flaws and insecurities, and that true and lasting connections are built on a foundation of acceptance, both of oneself and of others. Authenticity in relationships is crucial for building trust because it allows individuals to rely on the fact that what their partner says and does is a genuine reflection of their true thoughts and feelings. In contrast, inauthentic behavior can lead to feelings of insecurity and a sense of dishonesty within the relationship. When individuals are authentic, they create an environment of safety and predictability, which are essential for the development of deeper levels of trust and intimacy. Partners in authentic relationships feel that they truly know and understand each other, fostering a stronger and more resilient bond. Healthy relationship dynamics manifest differently across various types of interpersonal connections, yet fundamental principles remain consistent. In romantic relationships, key principles include open communication about intimacy, a strong foundation of trust and respect, mutual fondness, a shared desire for support and personal growth, and a willingness from both partners to actively work through challenges as they arise. This also involves maintaining a meaningful emotional connection, being prepared for the inevitable ups and downs of a relationship, nurturing physical intimacy, and demonstrating a consistent willingness to give and take within the partnership. In familial relationships, healthy dynamics are characterized by open and respectful dialogue among family members, active listening to each other's perspectives, the establishment and maintenance of healthy boundaries, the free expression of emotions, constructive approaches to conflict resolution, an understanding and respect for generational differences, and a willingness to repair relationships when rifts occur. Strong and happy families often demonstrate a deep commitment to one another, prioritize spending quality time together, share common goals, approach life with a sense of humor, share responsibilities within the household, cultivate common interests, engage in service to others, and are willing to seek help when needed. Healthy friendships thrive on mutual support, a strong foundation of trust and acceptance, a dynamic where friends challenge each other to grow and evolve, flexibility in adapting to life's changes, the simple enjoyment of each other's company, the establishment and respect of healthy boundaries, active and empathetic listening, honesty in communication, and the ability to offer and receive constructive feedback. Enduring friendships are often characterized by reciprocity in giving and receiving support, an openness to growth and change within the individuals, connections that extend beyond the initial circumstances of the friendship's formation, and a focus on shared values and experiences rather than differences. While the specific manifestations of these healthy dynamics may differ across relationship types, the underlying principles of respect, trust, open communication, and the establishment of healthy boundaries remain universally applicable. These core elements provide the essential framework for positive and fulfilling connections, regardless of the specific nature of the relationship. Moreover, all healthy relationships necessitate ongoing effort and commitment from all individuals involved. They are not static entities, but rather require continuous nurturing, adaptation to the various changes that life brings, and a willingness to work through challenges collaboratively. Toxic relationship patterns can significantly undermine an individual's well-being and the health of their interpersonal connections. These patterns are often characterized by a range of detrimental behaviors, including constant criticism, unwarranted jealousy, attempts to exert controlling behavior, pervasive dishonesty, a lack of mutual support, toxic communication styles marked by sarcasm and contempt, disrespect for boundaries and individuality, persistent feelings of resentment, a consistent failure to acknowledge or meet the other person's needs, a tendency to shift blame, defensiveness in the face of feedback, retaliatory actions, and an overall feeling of emotional depletion after interactions. These behaviors are often emotionally damaging and can involve manipulation tactics aimed at achieving control or causing psychological harm, leaving the recipient feeling unvalued and emotionally drained. It is important to distinguish between toxic relationships and those that are abusive. While both can involve control and power dynamics, abusive relationships are characterized by more severe forms of harm, including physical or sexual assault, and place the individual's physical safety at direct risk. In contrast, toxic relationships, while detrimental to emotional well-being, may not always involve physical harm. However, the presence of any form of abuse is a clear indication that the relationship is severely unhealthy and requires immediate attention. Addressing toxic relationship patterns necessitates a multifaceted approach. The first step often involves recognizing that the relationship is indeed harmful and that change is needed. Seeking support from trusted sources, such as mental health professionals, supportive friends, or understanding family members, can provide valuable guidance and emotional sustenance. Establishing firm and clear boundaries is crucial in protecting oneself from toxic behaviors and preventing further psychological damage. In some instances, it may be beneficial to practice a gradual disengagement from the relationship, reducing contact over time. However, in situations where safety is a concern or the toxic patterns are deeply entrenched, cutting off contact entirely may be the most appropriate course of action. Throughout this process, prioritizing self-care activities that promote emotional and physical well-being is essential for healing and recovery. Reflecting on the experience and learning to recognize red flags can help prevent involvement in similar relationships in the future. There are several indicators that suggest it may be necessary to end a relationship. A significant sign is the absence of an emotional connection with the other person, leading to feelings of distance and detachment. A breakdown in communication, where meaningful dialogue is replaced by silence, superficial conversations, or constant arguments, is another critical warning sign. The presence of aggressive or confrontational communication styles, which erode trust and respect, can also signal that the relationship is beyond repair. A complete lack of physical intimacy or a feeling of repulsion towards it can indicate a deep disconnect. Fundamental issues with trust, whether due to past betrayals or a constant feeling of suspicion, can be insurmountable obstacles. When individuals find that they have fundamentally different life goals and are unable or unwilling to support each other's aspirations, the relationship may be unsustainable. An inability to envision a shared future together is a strong indicator that the relationship may be coming to an end. Perhaps most tellingly, a persistent feeling of misery or unhappiness within the relationship, or a sense that one has lost their sense of self, suggests that it may be time to consider parting ways. Consistent disrespect of personal boundaries and a feeling of being unsafe, whether emotionally or physically, are also critical signs that the relationship is no longer healthy and may need to end. Self-compassion is a crucial concept that plays a significant role in building healthy relationships both with oneself and with others. It is defined as extending compassion to oneself in instances of perceived inadequacy, failure, or general suffering. This involves being kind and understanding toward oneself rather than being self-critical, recognizing one's fallibility as part of the larger human experience rather than as isolating, and holding one's painful thoughts and feelings in mindful awareness rather than avoiding them or exaggerating them. Self-compassion comprises three main elements: self-kindness, a sense of common humanity, and mindfulness. Self-kindness involves being warm and gentle towards oneself when experiencing pain or shortcomings, rather than resorting to harsh self-judgment. Common humanity is the recognition that suffering and imperfection are shared aspects of the human condition, fostering a sense of connection rather than isolation. Mindfulness entails approaching negative emotions with balance and non-judgment, neither suppressing nor becoming overwhelmed by them. Research indicates that self-compassion is strongly associated with psychological well-being, leading to increased feelings of happiness, optimism, curiosity, and connectedness, as well as decreased anxiety, depression, rumination, and fear of failure. It activates the body's soothe system, which helps to calm the threat and drive systems, contributing to emotional regulation. Unlike self-esteem, which can be contingent on external validation, self-compassion provides a more stable and unconditional sense of self-worth. Self-compassion also promotes healthier relationships with others. Individuals who are self-compassionate tend to exhibit more secure attachment styles, engage in more adaptive parenting behaviors, and experience healthier functioning in family, romantic, and friendship relationships. They are also more likely to engage in constructive conflict resolution and transgression repair behaviors. Self-compassion fosters empathy and the ability to balance one's own needs with the needs of others in relationships. By treating oneself with kindness and understanding, individuals are better equipped to extend that same compassion to others. Furthermore, self-compassion plays a crucial role in setting healthy boundaries. It is an act of self-kindness and self-respect that empowers individuals to define and maintain limits that protect their well-being. In conclusion, building healthy relationships is a continuous journey that requires understanding, effort, and self-awareness. By embracing the core elements of trust, respect, empathy, and open communication, individuals can lay a strong foundation for fulfilling connections. Recognizing the profound psychological benefits of these relationships and the detrimental effects of loneliness underscores their importance for overall well-being. Cultivating effective communication skills, setting and respecting healthy boundaries, and fostering vulnerability and authenticity are essential steps in nurturing these vital connections. Understanding the dynamics of different relationship types and learning to identify and address toxic patterns are crucial for navigating the complexities of interpersonal interactions. Ultimately, the practice of self-compassion provides an inner strength that supports both individual well-being and the ability to form and maintain healthy and fulfilling relationships with others, leading to a richer and more meaningful life.